したことありますか？
めちゃくちゃ多いと思います。めっちゃ多いと思います。ほぼ100%だと思います。
風俗っていうのは仕事で向こうやってるわけなんで、浮気とはちょっと違うのかなと思ってます。
周りの友達、女性の周りの友達で浮気してる方はいますか？
自分が
Okay, so recently you've probably seen street interviews in Japan showing that people in Japan think that cheating on their partner is common and socially acceptable. But is this really the case? So today we are going deep in Japan's cheating culture to find out whether Japan is really a country of cheaters. And so if you're interested in this topic, then please like this video. Okay, so right now you have university students in Japan, specifically in academic research, saying things like, well, everybody cheats. And you even have married men in Japan stating this. If you want sex, that's what a girlfriend is for, not your wife. And even women have said that they don't care if their man cheats, they just don't want to hear about it.
どうかっていう。イエスかノーで。
僕と恋愛はちょっと違うかなとまあ一緒だけどまあ彼女にこっそり秘密にしてたらあれだけどまあそういう、関係も彼女公認とかならまあ情に恋とかしなければいいじゃないか。
But to really understand this kind of cheating culture in Japan, we need to go back in time when Japan was quite literally okay with cheating. So cheating by definition happens when you're in an exclusive relationship and engage in either an emotional or physical intimacy with someone that isn't your partner. And now here's the real question. What happens when you're in a committed relationship but you don't actually love that person? You see, in ancient Japan, this was actually very popular. And that's because historically, marriage wasn't about love. It was about forging alliances between families and producing heirs. And in many ways, it acted like a business contract. And once you fulfilled that obligation to the family, you were essentially free to pursue your own personal desires, whether that meant passion, romance, or companionship with another person. And we can clearly see this kind of concept in the Heian period in Japan, because among the elite noble families, married couples often lived in separate residences. And this made it incredibly easy for other partners to come and go without ever having to cross paths with their spouse. And really, cheating wasn't just possible, it was convenient. And the Heian era became infamous for this reason. Affairs were common, and notably, both men and women participated in it. But as time moved on, this freedom began to shrink. But this was mainly only for women. And if you fast forward a few hundred years to the Tokugawa era, restrictions began to appear. Because you see, elite men in Japan could still sleep around, but only within designated spaces. Specifically, Yoshiwara, Japan's first officially sanctioned red light district. But for elite women, however, it was a different story. And seeking other partners outside of the marriage was heavily frowned upon. And even in Confucian ideals, they introduced texts like Onna Daigaku, or Greater Learning for Women, which emphasized absolute loyalty to only one husband. And this kind of double standard was solidified within the Meiji era, where the Japanese introduced the ie family system, reinforcing strict household rules, where men worked outside the home and women were expected to manage it. And this kind of structure really conveniently justified male infidelity, as men were framed as hard-working breadwinners providing for their family. And you know what? If they needed an outlet for stress, it was seen as understandable or maybe even deserved. But on the other hand, if women cheated, oh my gosh, it was considered a betrayal of not only her husband, but of her children and her family name. And at one point in the Meiji era, the law even allowed a husband to kill his wife and her lover if he caught them committing adultery. And with laws this biased and society openly excusing male infidelity, women were basically conditioned into accepting affairs as part of a normal marriage. Well, as part of a normal marriage for their husband. And even if they hated it, there was little they could do. And public opinion at this time supported that view. Because before World War II, it really wasn't unusual for upper class men to have one or even two mistresses. In fact, it was actually considered a status symbol. And the kind of prevailing belief at the time was simple. If you couldn't afford a mistress, you're not in the top 1%. And really, this kind of double standard persisted until after World War II. Alright, so what changed? Well, political reforms and their introduction of Christian-influenced values pushed monogamy as the standard for both men and women. And this big shift is clearly reflected in the law. And actually, before 1948, adultery under Japanese law only applied to married women having sex with another man. And yeah, that's right, it's only women, not men. But after this period, the same rules and the same law were applied to men as well. And this marked a massive and very recent shift of societal values. And to put this into perspective, this happened less than a century ago. Meanwhile, in ancient Western societies like ancient Greece and Rome, medieval Christianity, and early Protestant Europe, marital monogamy had been the norm for thousands of years. And not only that, but Japan also differed in relation to their other East Asian neighbors. And while Confucius' values and teachings about loyalty and faithfulness were included, they were largely applied to, you guessed it, only women. And the Confucian idea of marriage being strictly monogamous was really never fully embraced. And an interesting fact is that in Japan, two other most predominant religions, Shintoism and Buddhism, placed far less value on marriage in monogamy compared to Christianity in the West or even Confucianism elsewhere in East Asia. And these philosophical and religious differences played a major role into shaping what Japan is today. And while many laws have changed, this kind of mindset, shaped by centuries of history, don't simply just vanish overnight. So what do Japanese people really think today? And do the laws reflect this change in attitude? Well, in terms of punishment, there was a huge change in the way cheating was dealt with. Because until 1947, cheating was actually a criminal offense. And while after that, it became a civil offense only. So not only do you see the shift in regulation regarding the law, but in today's society, it's not out of the norm to actually sue your partner and their lover if you do in fact find out that they're cheating on you. And of course, this only applies if you're officially married. But if you're just kind of like dating, that's a different story. And again, online, you see all these YouTube videos about cheating in Japan, and you especially see all these street-style interviews. But is this really reflective of society's norms in Japan, showcasing that, you know what, cheating isn't really that big of a deal? Or is there a hidden bias in these interviews? Also, let me know what your thoughts are on this in the comment section down below. And if we want to get to the bottom of this, we have to look at Japan's youth. And now there's a term going around called cheating with a light heart. And you'll see this term usually come up with in university students. But why is this? Well, you see, university is a time of exploration, of finding oneself, and also seen as a time of nothing really matters once you pass those entrance exams. Classes are skipped, assignments are late, and the campus basically becomes a place that you visit to socialize. And this doesn't just apply to their studies, but also applies to their dating life. For example, we see Momoko here, a 21-year-old student who put it bluntly, cheating is forgivable because they're still students. And this comment specifically came from a 2021 study examining how Japanese university students deal with infidelity. And most participants described cheating as common and justified it as a product of youth. The shared belief in the relationship at this age is that it's not really serious. Marriage isn't on the table, and therefore, you know what, cheating isn't such a big deal. Or if we look at another example, May, a 22-year-old who admitted to cheating, explained it this way: because I'm a university student, I don't need a very serious relationship. So I started infidelity with a light heart. In fact, a study done by Makino in 2012 found that 13% of 400 university and college students in Japan have experienced infidelity. And this is including outside of a committed relationship. And the fascinating thing is that infidelity between men and women are completely different. Because for men, it's all about the physical pleasure. And for women, it's the exact opposite. It was all about emotional attachment. And for me personally, I found this completely mind-blowing. And if you are surprised by this, let me know in the comment section down below as well. So as you can see, there's this kind of distinction between enjoying youth and settling down and finding a partner for marriage. And you know what, maybe for those of us who grew up in North America, we date to marry. But this, as proven, is not always the case in Japan. But what do you think of this attitude towards cheating in Japan? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you found this video interesting, then please share it with your friends. Now, here's the thing though. Overall, cheating in the general population is not more common in Japan than it is in other countries. But what shocks everyone is the kind of attitude around it. In fact, according to Pew Research, 69% of people in Japan consider extramarital affairs to be morally unacceptable. And while this indicates a majority view, it is still considered lower than many other countries. And here's the thing. These viral clips can create the impression that everyone in Japan cheats no matter what, and that cheating culture is rampant. But that's actually misleading because the responses need to be put into perspective within Japan's unique historical, cultural, and social context. Because behind these seemingly casual attitudes towards cheating lie a long history of patriarchal laws and expectations. And the crazy thing is though, even among older generations, cheating is sometimes viewed as the easier alternative to divorce. Now again, Japan is neither better or worse than other countries when it comes to infidelity. And while cheating does exist, it's not encouraged, celebrated, or widely accepted by the majority of people. That is to say, the majority of people still value trust and loyalty in relationships. But what do you think of this culture of cheating in Japan? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you liked this video and found it useful, then please share it with your friends so they'll know the truth about cheating in Japan. And until next time everyone, stay waku waku.
So make sure you check out my free Japanese cheat sheet where I share with you the 5 simple but not well-known secrets to learn Japanese the fast, fun, and easy way. And you can get it for free in the description box down below. And until next time everyone, stay waku waku.